Hey, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, niggas? It's your boy Moonmonkey coming at you with another In The Lab. And today, we're gonna be doing a sequel, not a sequel, but another installment of Ike in the Lab. Now, a lot of you guys are asking to another In The Lab with Ike, and a lot of you guys left some really good shit down in the comment section. I also post these In The Labs on Reddit as well as Smashboard, so a lot of people gave me some good feedback. Two of the top people that gave me some good shit are senseigaming from Reddit and my boy SoulFN 7018. These niggas dropped some good ass Ike knowledge, man. So let's go on. Let's go to let's go to this Coliseum real quick. Alright, so let's get in some of this shit that my boy Ike can do. Now, some of this stuff I did leave out in my first episode just to kind of just leave it just to basic strings and basic gameplay that you can do with Ike. So let's actually start this video off with ledge play. Now, my boy Ike, he has a couple things that he can do with ledge play. So first one being is if a person is really just like pressuring you on the edge, like they're not giving you space, like let's say a Lucario or whatever character is just like dancing, hugging close to the edge, just like waiting for you to get up, you can actually pressure them and try to make them give you your space with your up B. So your up B, you can just pretty much throw your sword out and just kind of shoot it out and just push them off of you. So it's kind of like a get off me kind of tactic. Matter of fact, if you know like the type of stages that you're dealing with, you could kind of like throw your sword out really far as fuck and just like really punish these people. But you got to be careful because some of these stages, they're not really like walled off like this Coliseum final destination is, because if you're not really careful, you might be able to get caught under the stage and that might screw you over. So be careful what kind of stage you're dealing with. Like let's say Mario's like right here. I can pretty much just send my sword out as far as possible that I can and not have to worry about me getting caught under the stage since it's walled off. Now, aside from using your up B, your A there for pressuring people to get off of you, you could actually use your quick draw as a kind of like a stalling tactic on the ledge. So if a person's like on the ledge, you could kind of like jump up, probably either double jump or like jump back retreat into your quick draw. That's also a good tactic you could use. Well, quick draw in general is a really good tool that you can actually use just to pressure people. One of them that SoulFN 7018 has mentioned is that if an opponent is on the floor trying to get up attack, your quick draw pretty much covers a lot of options. Like they either are locked down into roll forward, roll backwards, or get up attack. And Ike's quick draw pretty much covers at least two of those options really well. He could really pressure either way you roll, and if he's managed to beat you out of your get up attack, he has you on lock. So make sure try to make use of your get up attack. And as senseigaming has mentioned on Reddit, is that quick draw is also a really good way of just closing on the distance. So let's say Mario is in the air and he's like DIing swords away from me. I can use quick draw just to close in on the distance instead of running. I think, yeah, Ike's quick draw goes a lot faster than he would do if he was running. So try to use your quick draw to close in on the distance. It's also good for just like jumping off on the ledge. Now, another good thing that you can kind of do if opponents really likes to like pressure you as you get off the ledge, what you could do is jump off and immediately counter. That's what SoulFN has mentioned in my last video. That's really good for characters like Sheik that really like to pressure you with the fairs, and it makes them double think how they want to approach you when you come off the ledge. So if you keep doing it, eventually they'll just probably get smart and wisen up and try to see what you're going to do after you jump off the ledge. So it kind of makes them kind of back off and try to make you think. But you don't want to get too predictable because like all counters, if you just do it too many times, your opponent might just get wisen up and charge up their forward smash or whatever smash long enough that will beat out your counter. So keep that in mind. Now, one thing that you gotta get really used to is your fast falling. Fast falling is a really good way of just like reaching the ground as quickly as possible. Well, pretty much what fast falling is like you're jumping and then you're flicking your controller down even faster. So you're kind of like tapping, kind of in the sense of how you're doing your smash attack. So if I just do a regular jump, Ike just goes up and down. But if I fast fall, you actually see like a glint. Like right before Ike starts to fastball, you kind of see like a little spark. So you want to try to mess with that. And that could kind of lead into a lot of things that you can kind of do. So you can either fastball forward air. You still see the glint as you do it. And that's really good for just throwing out your sword as quickly as possible and just retreating down. That's good for people that like to approach from the air. And you can just kind of like throw out a quick attack and beat them to the ground as quickly as possible. Just probably follow it with like a down tilt. Actually, there's a lot of things that I can probably do as they probably retreating down to the ground. You could probably do like pivot grabs, pivot tilts. Actually, pivot grabs are like one of the best things that I can do. Ooh. Actually, if you could probably do like pivot jump, turn around, and quick draw. That could really throw off a lot of opponents. The trick with Ike is that since he's such a slow character, what you want to do, you probably want to rely on your pivots, especially for characters like the dash dance. One of them being is like probably like retreating like fairs or up smashes. Your up smash is probably the move that you definitely want to use most of the times because it's better than your down smash because it kind of like arcs and swings all over you. So you probably want to do that. So if your opponent likes to dash dance, what you probably want to do is like kind of like dance around and kind of like throw your up smash. That covers a lot of options as well. You could probably, as I mentioned, cover it up with some pivot tilts, pivot grabs. So yeah. Try to toy around with how Ike just pretty much like moves around. Once you're used to Ike, you're able to pull off a lot more. You kind of get a feel for the character. Most of this shit you're gonna want to like just toy around with Ike, see how he moves, and just toy around like how far do I need to be so I can actually pull off a forward air without taking any landing lag. So you can either do a full hop, a full double jump hop if you wanna. Also, a good way to just keep on like pressuring opponents is try to do like retreating attacks, like retreating fairs, retreating bears. Retreating bears are really good, especially for the characters like Bowser Jr. Just like trying to get up in your face, trying to do their neutral airs or like their forward airs. So since Ike's sword is disjointed like Marth, you can pretty much just throw it out from a safe distance, just kind of like going in and out, throwing them out. So be careful with that. Also, your up smash is really good at the edge. Since it pretty much like arcs over, like I said, most opponents will probably just approach off like either jumping or rolling. So if you approach from like the edge and just kind of like run up and up smash, your sword will beat them out. If they roll behind you, your sword is gonna pretty much meet them. If they try to jump in the air, your sword is still gonna meet them. Like this move pretty much covers a lot of options. So you definitely want to make use of that. All right, so let's reset real quick. Alright, so going back to fast falling. Fast falling can come out pretty handy, especially if you kind of implement it in with your C-stick. So, like I mentioned, you want to kind of like tap your control stick down to stick the glint, and you kind of like shoot down as quickly as possible with your character for fast falling. You know you're doing it right when you see that little shine right above Ike's head. So, toy around with it. This is without fast falling. You don't see any glint over his head. And this is with fast falling. Now, you can kind of toy around with this and kind of implement your C-stick into this. So now, if you jump and slowly move your control stick down without actually fast falling, you're not tapping it, but you're just moving your control stick down lightly enough that you're not actually fast falling. And what you want to do, try holding down a C-stick as you do this as well. So I'm going to hold down my dare on my C-stick. So I'm going to point my C-stick down as I slowly move my control stick down. So I slowly start to just shoot down. So he's kind of like fast falling with his dare. So you can kind of pressure a lot of heavy characters with this as well. So if I can actually, there we go. And this is good for like pressuring like heavy characters like DDD, Donkey Kong, Bowser, especially Bowser. So definitely try to play around with his like fast fall C-sticks and shit like that. Actually, a lot of his stuff works well with this technique. So you can kind of like fast fall with your bear. That's good for like just rocketing down and just like covering a lot of options, especially for characters that are low to the ground like Mario. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm fast falling, and just before I hit the ground, I'm kind of just like flicking my C-stick backwards. That's a good way of just like hitting characters low enough to the ground, and you can kind of toy around with that with his fairs as well. So if you kind of just like jump up, fair, well, there we go. You know you're doing it right when you see that glint over his head, so you kind of like just shoot down. But you don't want to do it too far, because if you do it too fast, your sword won't come out and you won't get any hitbox out, and you won't really do any damage. So what you could also do is try to do like some pivot fairs. Pivot fairs is really good as well, especially if a character likes to run up on you. Especially for a character like Fox. If you see like, you know, it's like if you know a Fox likes to do their illusion, you can kind of just like jump back and kind of do your retreating fairs. Kind of like punish the illusion as he lands. So, and you can also punish his Firefox as well. Same with Falco. You can also do retreating bears as well. That's also a good technique. I mean, Nairs work pretty well, but you don't really get that, I guess, momentum movement that you would if you kind of like put in like a direct input on your C-stick. So toy around with that. Most of these techniques, you just definitely want to just like get a feel for Ike, because like I said, throwing out these fairs might take some timing, and as you play with Ike a lot more, you're gonna get used to that timing. How fast you need to start throwing out that fair, when you need to start throwing out that bear to be able to hit Mario in the face. So try to toy that around with. It'll take some timing, but once you get it, you'll know you got it. You'll know you got it. So yeah, retreating fairs, pivot grabs, that's pretty much like all he wants to do. Also, his jab attack comes out really fast, and you can kind of like pull off some gimps with it as well. So let's reset. You can kind of pull off some gimps, so you can kind of jab. Just doing one jab will kind of like throw an opponent off. You can kind of like jab, they'll probably move around. So if you know opponent likes to like roll a lot, jab once and just punish it a forward smash like in that opposite direction. And I believe you can kind of like pull off a jab, and kind of punish with a down tilt as well if you're able to get opponent at a low enough percent. So let's see if you can actually pull that off. Reset real quick. Alright, so let's see. Jab. So you gotta be quick with it. Yeah, so that's a pretty good way of just like mixing it up. And since if you follow it up with your down tilt, it'll pop them up in air. You could probably follow it up with a fair. So that you can kind of like mix it up, because your standard jab attack will kind of hit your opponent further away. But if you're able to just mix it up, let's reset once again. If you're able to mix up your jab into your down tilt, it'll kind of lead them to something else. So that's your standard jab attack. Jab, down tilt. And that will pop them up so you can hit them with a fair. But like all things in Smash, it can be de-item if your opponent's ready for it. So be careful of that. So yeah, that's pretty much it with Ike. Here's a lot of stuff. It just mess around with his fast falling with the C-stick, fastball dares, fastball fairs, retreating fairs, pivot tilts and shit, pivot grabs. They're all handy, and you definitely want to play around with that. So, most cases, you're definitely going to rely on your up smash for a lot more. When in doubt, if you want to do your down smash, don't do your down smash. Your up smash is going to be a lot better move than your down smash, since it does arc over all properties. So yeah, and even just like retreating like up smashes are really good as well. So if you just like run back and forth and just pull out an up smash, it's a good way of just getting people heads that like to dash dance. So yeah, toy around with your boy Ike. Let me know if you guys have any other techniques. I'll definitely do a follow-up video with that as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and next time we'll be in the same exact place whipping that work in the lab, and we gonna be with my boy Ike, baby. Let's go, niggas. Let's go.